Hey, good morning, everybody. It's me. I'm back. It's Robert Phoenix, and it is let's see, 9:23. Yeah, really running a bit behind today because there's a lot going on here that I'll be detailing over the course of the next hour or so, roughly, and a lot of it has to do with what's happening right here in this part of the universe, the place that I'm actually transmitting from. As well as the state of Texas and beyond. We are in this kind of micro, macro Jupiter Saturn phase now, and with the great conjunction still flexing its muscles and will be for a while. So take advantage of the opportunity to witness it and allow me to bear witness for you so that you can understand what's going on here. All right, we got Steve Thor at the door. What's going on, Steve? Good to see you. Double M in the house. 108 Dragon 14. Hello, good morning. Michael Pofford. Morning, Michael. Good to see you. There she is, the lovely and talented Joan S. And there's my man, Mark Matheny, Ashanti Edwards in the house. Lisa Marie, Kara McLaughlin. There's Scrubbies. What's going on, Tamara? Nice to see you. Laura D is here. Denise Woolsey. Good morning, Denise. The Rose of Nova Scotia, Danica Rose. Ian Barber. Morning, Ian. There's my man, Ryan. Tea Time with Tizia, holding down the southern tip of the resistance. Nice to see you, Tizia. Lils is here. Morning, Lils. We got Double V. We got Double M, the metaphysical meditation meister. You could be Triple M. Throw Mike in there. It could be 4M. Joe Mama in the house. There's Natasha. Uncle Glenn is in. Good to see you, Uncle. Angela Nelson's here. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. Craig Corporon, Double C. Travis Newman. What's happening, Travis? Nice to see you. Nature Lover 72. JMP Love. Donna and I are present. Nice. T. Jordan. I'll be talking to you real soon, Mr. Jordan. Bowman, 1987, in the house. Mary Black, fraud it, Mary. You're so on it. Better enjoy the last day of warm. Yeah, snow is coming. It's pretty dismal here in the hill country. Karen Moore with a C. I once dated a Karen Moore with a K and an E when I was in college. That was an interesting experience. I got my first dose of Gemini with Karen Moore with a K. Let's see. Who else? Jazz Freak. What's going on, Jazz Freak? Nancy Harding. Carissa Pollock. Chatlandia is really good. It's a really good thing. Paula Tuttle. Hey, Paula. Nice to see you. I was talking about you yesterday. You came through. No, we were talking about Paulette Hanson. But we can talk about you now. Good to see you. Hopefully we'll see Paulette in here. Diana Young is here. Andy McIntosh. I'm living in a mud flutter right now. We're going to talk about that. Some interesting stuff happening in Norway. Let's see. Who else do we have? Hey, it's the Techno Brat. I'll be hanging out with the Techno Brat, a.k.a. Emily Moyer, on New Year's Eve a bit. She's going to be live streaming. I'll stop by. I think Masaki's going to drop in on the live stream. There's going to have a musical thing going on. So that's going to be a New Year's Eve. I'll be there for a little bit. So if you want more information about that, I think hang out with Emily on her Patreon, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where it takes place. Hey, Charles Mazik. Love it, Georgia is going to flip, then Pennsylvania. We'll see. We'll see. We got MK. There she is, Misty Minor. Hello, Misty. Soon we'll be calling you. Well, Misty, I don't know if you already have children, but you are expecting another child. So you be Mama Misty Minor. Michael Cisternino, my bad, Michael. I have dyslexia around your last name. Michael Cisternino. I want to put that Nino, like, like Bergnino. I always want to throw that Nino in there. It's Nino. Nino. Nice to see you, Michael. Elizabeth W., Nicholas Grimm, Michelle Taylor from the Sunshine Coast. Karen Moore is my stage name. Oh, I get it. Karen Moore. Oh, now I get it, right? Some people care, but you're Karen Moore. You're Karen more than your average carer. I get it. I like that. Sabrina C., where are my gorgeous cats? They are participating in Cardinal TV right out here. I got to load up on the black sunflower seeds because they love watching those cardinals come in and try to take those seeds. I don't know where Jasper went. He was just here. But there's Rosie. Vanessa's here. Ruben, what's going on, Ruben? I just resigned from my I think it's job. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on resigning from your job. Probably one of the best things you could do. Pardon my pun. Let's see. Who else do we have? Mary Swappe from Canada. Canada in the house. Is Pence bugging out? No, Pence apparently is not bugging out. That's an interesting detail. We'll talk about that. We will talk about that. Oh, Jasper has just arrived. He's ready. Look at him. Jasper, look at him. He is ready. See him? He's in pounce mode. He's in pounce mode. Look at him. I'm ready to take those cats on. Those birds on. I don't know if Jasper could take a cat on. He doesn't have any teeth. That's the one thing. Jasper does not have great chompers. He has great claws. Rosie, on the other hand, has her teeth intact, and she likes to bare them. She likes to bare them. Pam Jerome's here from Michigan. Morning, Pam. Colleen, all my friends. Cold and rainy this morning. Yes, it feels like winter. CC Jones. What's happening, CC? Lori Seiler. Indiana, checking in. Ralph Winter. It's your time, Ralph. It is your time. Let's see. Is RPM going to be... You didn't like my show yesterday, did you? You didn't like the show. Apparently, there was a lot of... I stirred up a lot of anxiety and angst in the chat yesterday. Look, I'm a Scorpio rising. You have to understand that. A lot of this comes through a very dark lens, and I work very hard to refine the laser so that it doesn't always come out dark. But every now and then, Cyclops has to turn the antimatter ray on, and that's just the way it goes. I think one person's perspective, or not even perspective, one person's, that's what I'm looking for, filter, or one person's diagnoses, lay of the land. Lay of the land. One person's lay of the land is another person's, I don't know, lay of the wasteland. But I do my best to bring you things that are inspirational. I did bring to you two people who were openly resisting the insanity of the mask protocols. They stood up, right? They stood up. So I did bring you some optimistic material, people who were empowered. But look, we're in dark times, and we have to go through dark matter in dark times. I am not going to apologize for that. I almost did, but I'm not going to apologize for it. There is dark matter in dark times, and if we do not disseminate the dark matter, then we are in denial. If we go too dark, then what happens? We are paralyzed. We can't do anything. We're demoralized. Why breathe? Why keep breathing? So it was one of the reasons why I don't have a steady diet of Celeste Solum. Being honest here. I don't have a steady diet of Celeste Solum. When I want to eat the raw Brussels sprouts of the Truth Movement, it's Celeste Solum, but I don't go there very often because it's like a Sartre, no exit. At least I give you a few exits every now and then, and they're viable exits, by the way. They're viable, but we can't go through dark times without having to move through dark matter. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. Right, Jasper? You want optimism? You want optimism? There you go. Right there. Right there. That's it. So if I go dark, right, just take a screen grab of this right now and just go back to it. Right there. That's all you need. All right, let's get going. Jasper, do you want to say the morning prayer today? Jasper's going to say the morning prayer today, right here. Meow meow meow, meow meow meow, meow meow, meow meow, meow meow meow, meow meow meow, meow 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 meow, meow meow, meow meow meow, meow meow, meow meow meow, meow 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 meow, meow. All right, Jasper, that was great. Thank you. He's great, isn't he? Did you see him move his mouth? He was actually moving his mouth while I was doing that. Oh my god. You're the best. You're the best. Hey, what's going on, Ricky Ricardo? Signing that New Mexico symbol. Always loved. When I was a kid, now he really wants to get involved. When I was a kid, in the fourth grade, we had to do reports on the various states of the Union. So, of course, being in California, I wanted to do California. That didn't happen. Some other kid got California. So, I don't know how most kids had one state. I had two. And my states were Texas and New Mexico. They were the only ones left over. I think. I'm not sure. But I doubled up. Little did I know at the time they were neighbors. I also, when I was in kindergarten, we had like a thing on the countries of the world. And each kid was a country because we were learning the names of the various countries. And when I found out that there was a Turkey and a Hungary, I thought it was hilarious. I laughed. I thought, oh, that's great. Turkey and Hungary, it makes sense. It makes total sense. I also thought that when I was a kid, around the age of 4 or 5, that if you did yoga, you ate yogurt. That there was like yogurt was the sacrament of yoga. And in a weird way, it kind of was. In a weird way, it kind of was. Me too. You thought yoga and yogurt were together? I know. It was like a thing. It was like a thing. It's like you do the yoga and then afterwards you eat the yogurt. Isn't that funny? Jasper probably eats some yogurt. Yeah. And the hungry turkey, I thought that was hilarious. I was like, this is the greatest joke ever. I was 5. You're telling me there's 2 countries called Hungary and Turkey? The world does have a sense of humor. Should I do the real invocation? I'll do the real invocation. All right, here we go. Dear blessed and holy Mother, Father God of the great central sun, within the universal light, which is light of Yeshua, Son, Emmanuel, we ask only the highest and best wisdom, truth, and information come through this transmission at this time. In so doing, that we are blessed and graced with the qualities of patience and forbearance and fortitude, commitment, flexibility, strength, heart, purpose, vision, courage, humor, perspective, perception, discernment, compassion, empathy, and above all, love. We ask that any karmic residue be cleansed, clarified, purified and removed from this stream at this time. And let's get going. Here we go. I just like to come here to enjoy. Well, there's moments of enjoyment, I mean, I think that my streams are a lot like life. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're dark, sometimes there's a lot of information to chew on. Sometimes they're infuriating, sometimes they're frustrating, sometimes they're inspiring, sometimes they're human, sometimes it's transcendent, right? Like you'll get the whole kit and caboodle at some point along the way. And I think it's a lot like life. Sometimes I talk about football. People don't like it. Some people do, though. Now they do. Talk about music. Got cats. So hang in there long enough and you'll experience something that you will find relatable and enjoyable. And if not, hang in there. 10, 15 minutes, it might change. All right, let's talk about what's happening locally. We are making an impact. I'll tell you why. The Tea Party page for Fredericksburg has been removed from Facebook. Yes, as of today, there is no more Tea Party page on Facebook. Oh, forgot to welcome Judy. Hello, Judy, wherever you are. You're always welcome here. You're always so. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, and beaming back to us from eternity, helping us out from the other side. She's our big asset now on the other side. Like, I'm sure Judy she's doing the work. That's what I think. So they decided that they were going to nuke the Tea Party's Facebook page. Not only that, but they removed Angela Smith's account, who is the the co-head of the Tea Party, along with Matt Long, and I believe they removed Matt Long's account. So we are theoretically over the target. Over the target. And now Abbott has reestablished his order and decree that he is the de facto mayor of every single city in Texas now, because through the BATF, whatever it's called, the alcohol, tobacco, whatever, that agency and some health agency, he has instructed these county judges and county commissioners to lay down the law. So there was a press release yesterday from the local judge here in Gillespie County that said, this is it. Bars are closed now. They're closed. Restaurants back to 25% capacity. And I think we're probably going to be headed towards a curfew soon. Now, why is this happening? Why did they take down the Tea Party page from Facebook? Why did they eliminate Angela Smith's account? Because people are pissed off and they're starting to get organized. The city of Fredericksburg, on their Facebook page, with their last Zoom meeting, said the official city council, right? So they're already understanding that people are they're not buying the story anymore, and people are starting to get pissed off. And what Abbott did is he basically put a firewall around the mayors. Like, so now the mayors, it just depends on the city too, the county. I mean, I think was it Rockwall? Rockwall is a county and a city, and Rockwall is not playing along with the mandates. They're not. So you got a county and a city that basically said, screw you, we're not doing this. And when you have that kind of cohesion, there's really not much Abbott can do. Now, he recently made a move, and he turned the APD into the state police. He essentially said, guess what? I am making the state police marshals of the city of Austin. So now Greg Abbott, who operates out of the city of Austin, the capital of Texas, now has his own police force. See, this is what tyrants do. This is what dictators do. Now, the reason why he's doing this and the reason why we're going into serious lockdown here, which is all bullshit, is because we are creeping towards session. Right? And here in Texas, the legislature meets every 2 years. Not every year. I'm sorry, every other year. Every other year. Not every 2 years, every other year. So this past year, when this, corona ran rampant, the state legislature could not meet because it wasn't their time to meet. Well, now guess what? January 20th, session kicks in. Greg Abbott does not want the state legislature to meet. He will ban the meeting. I guarantee you he will ban the meeting. Why? Because the state legislature, if they meet, they could overturn his emergency order, his proxy. They could do that. It's in the Texas state constitution. He doesn't want them to meet. He doesn't want people going to the state capitol and testifying. Oh, that's going to be a COVID risk. So he's out ahead of this. He's just going to want to shut it down. Greg Abbott has become a dictator. Maybe he was always a dictator. He just needed the wherewithal to become a dictator. He's a dictator, and it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. Now the little potentates here, in this town and other Texas towns. Oh, we can't do anything. Our hands are tied. That's Abbott. It's coming down from the state. You go to the county. Oh, sorry. This is coming down from the state. This is coming down from Abbott. So what we have is decentralization and massive centralization. Massive. So one of the things that Texas has is there's no state income tax. They don't take it out of your check. But they do have a high state tax. If you wanted to purchase like an RV or a car or whatever, new, or a home, there's a pretty significant tax on that. And they have very high property taxes here in Texas. That's where they generate most of their income. This is the last resort for people, is to stop paying their property tax. You want to figure out how to slow the beast down, you don't pay your property tax. That's it. And you say, well, they'll take our property away. I'll tell you right now, they're going to take your fucking property away anyway. If you understand the fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset, that is the plan. They will own your home. They'll absolve you of all your debt, but you won't own anything, including your home. And people are going to figure this stuff out real fast. We had an option available, and the option was to just stay home. This is all before COVID. Like, if you really wanted to hit the system, and I talked about this for years. I started talking about this in 2010. That the way you change the system is by doing nothing. Literally, you just stay home. You get about 60 days worth of food, and you get 35% of the population that just don't do anything. Keep your kids home from school. Don't work. Right? You get 35% of the population to do that pre-2020. That has an impact. That has an effect. You throw a major wrench into the system. Major. By the way, I think Judy's the green light. I think Judy's the green orb. That's what I think. The green orb keeps showing up. And usually when I talk about Judy, I think she's the green orb. Anyway. But that's not available now. You can't do that now because that's what they want you to do. Oh, sorry, system's over. You stay home, and then you're going to take UBI and shut the fuck up. So that option's off the table. It's off the table. Can't do it. What's left? Well, property tax. Yes, property tax. And yes, it is a heretical thing to talk about. Because if you take away property tax, what happens? Well, you can't pay for all those systems. Well, like your public school. Really? Oh, you mean the public school where the kids don't show up? You mean that public school? Yeah, that public. You mean the public school where they don't play sports anymore or have after-school programs? That public school, yeah, that public school. You mean the public school that runs everything through some sort of third party client and has your kid in front of a screen 8 hours a day? Yeah, that public school. You mean the public school that used to have a physical location and they had to pay for things like insurance and heat and air conditioning and support staff? Yeah, that public school. That's not there anymore. It's not. So what are you paying for? Well, what about all the stuff that the state is supposed to do? What about all that state stuff? Like, I don't know, make the road safe by employing people that give you tickets. That kind of stuff. Yeah. What else do they do? Highways. You travel on the highways that they maintain. Well, here in Texas, you got to pay a toll for that, right? You got to pay a toll. We have toll roads. I think the money from the toll roads is supposed to go to that theoretically. So it doesn't really come out of the property tax. So what else do they do? What else does the state provide? Let me think here. Oh, I know. So when there's an emergency, state of emergency, the state employs a lot of people to make sure the state of emergency is being tended to. So so it employs a lot of people to deal with the state of crisis, state of emergency. Yes, that's one of the reasons why. Yeah. So if you pay your property tax, you get to pay those salaries to those people, and they get positions. State employs a lot of people, a lot of state employees. What would they do? They have jobs. What would they do if they didn't have a job? They'd be singing a different tune. So this is one of the last things that people don't understand this, because at some point it won't matter. It won't matter whether you decide to stop paying your property taxes. It won't matter, because they'll just come in and say, well, things are so bad. Country's in so much debt. Just sign it away. Sign everything away. Sign it away. You're in debt. You've got to go through these massive food lines. Just give up your house. It's going to pay for it. The equity in your house will pay for it. Savings, we'll take it. We'll seize your savings. It's coming. It's coming. I guarantee you, if they run the game the Klaus Schwab way, it is coming. And people don't know this, don't understand it. And their only line of defense at this point, at a mass level, is to just say, no, you're not getting any more of our money. But people won't do that because people are afraid. They're afraid. And if I was a property owner, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably go, wow, man, it's kind of radical. But the only way it works is if you don't do it alone. If you do it alone, you're fucked. If you do it with 30% of the population, now all of a sudden you're getting their attention, right? You're getting their attention. So this is what's happening here. They don't want people to congregate. They're going to crack down on that. I guarantee you, because we're over the target. They don't want people talking about ideas. They don't want people organizing. They don't want kids going to school and exchanging ideas and organizing. This is planet lockdown, and it's going to get worse. It'll get way worse when Biden becomes president. There is a slim scintilla of a chance that Trump will be president on January 20th. And I'll tell you why. There's a slim scintilla. Slim. But they're getting ready for people to play the Biden lockdown game. And Trump had that executive order on March 13th, which basically decoupled the federal government from the state government and allowed the states to run their little programs. September 13th came around. What did Trump do? He didn't do a damn thing. Just let it roll. Same thing. Well, I guarantee you, If/when Biden becomes president, what will he do? Oh, he will rescind that. He will rescind that. He will take control of the federal government and he will tell the states exactly what to do. I guarantee you. Because he told you, he says, we're in the first 100 days, we're going to undo everything the other guy did. Everything. Everything. He says, we're not going to go through and examine, what he did was actually good or was a workable or solvent solution to some of the issues that people are facing. We'll vet what he did, and the ones that we feel don't work, we'll remove, and the ones we think do work, we'll keep. Nah, I didn't say that. He said everything. That includes those 2 resolutions, by the way. So basically, the control of the federal government that Trump ceded on March 13th will go back into the hands of the federal government. And if Joe Biden is there, it'll be through the Biden administration. That's what will happen. Let's talk about the big day, January 6th, the big day, and what is going on with one Michael Pence. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this to you guys too. See, this is where we are right here. This is one of the things from yesterday that I wanted to bring up. Police raid Stockton hair salon for daring to open amid Newsom shutdown order. By the way, January 1st is a universal day where people are going to open their businesses. All right, what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at this guy. He's checking himself out in the mirror. Hey, how do I look? How do I look? And I think there might even be, is this him or somebody over here? How do I look? You look like a fat ass. That's what you look like. Pomp Salon, rated just for Christmas. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? One of these guys works for the county health board, and the rest are police enforcing law. What did I tell you? What's happening? Pomp. So we watch the video. When do we watch the video? Let me stop the share here. I'll play the volume. Give me a second. I wasn't planning on playing the volume, but let's go ahead and play it. This is by ABC 10.
It happened without warning Wednesday afternoon.
Do any of you have a soul?
Police officers entering the Pomp Salon in North Stockton's upscale Lincoln Center.
Did you hear what she said? Do any of you have a soul? Answer, no. Those are organic portals following orders.
About 5 armed state police officers burst into our salon shouting, "Drop everything you're doing, stop, you're being shut down."
The video was recorded by salon co-owner Vicki Kirk. She says the officers spent an hour inside questioning why the 7-year-old salon with 40 stylists was open in the midst of COVID stay-at-home orders.
Do you guys know how much unemployment is for hairdressers?
Defiant stylists challenging police officers with their own questions.
It was one of the worst days of my life. To have that scene happen in our salon when we're only trying to work.
The state's Department of Consumer Affairs Investigation Division issued the salon 3 misdemeanor citations. Despite that, Pomp Salon remained open once the officers left. Dino Ballin is the husband of Kirk and co-owner.
Why does the hair salon have to close, but Target can stay open and Walmart can stay open? Where's the connection? And what's the specific infection rate that you're attributing to these salons?
When shutdown orders happened during the summer, Ballin went on vacation, but then cut it short when stylists texted him pleading with him to reopen because they were broke. Statewide, since July 1st, California's Board of Barbering and Cosmetology has cited just 2 businesses, Pomp Salon and Primo's Barbershop in Vacaville. When we asked the Department of Consumer Affairs, which oversees the board, why they were citing Pomp, they told us in part the board has conducted approximately 14,000 inspections at licensed establishments since the beginning of the pandemic. Any establishment that doesn't comply with the public health orders that have been put in place to slow the spread of COVID-19 may be subject to disciplinary action, end quote. They also said it's up to the local district attorney's office to pursue these misdemeanor citations. When we contacted the San Joaquin County DA's office, they told us in part, as the state orchestrated this raid, the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office will not.
Do you see this? Do you see this? As the state orchestrated this raid, the San Joaquin District Attorney Office will not be involved in filing any charges. So there's this confusion, which is intentional, about who is in charge of what. This is totally Kafkaesque and intentional. They don't want you to keep your home. They don't want you to feed your family. Barbershops and salons are frontline businesses where you can be entrepreneurial, and there is a guaranteed income there. There is a guaranteed income because people need to have care, right? They need to have their hair cut. That's a baseline. And then you get into sort of the kind of the vanity levels of the business operation. So you could go from a service that costs $15 to a service that costs $250, maybe more, depending upon the actual salon and what they do, what they offer. But that's always been kind of a recession-proof business, because people can afford $15, $20, $35, $40, $50. Usually they can afford that. So personal care, salons, barbershops have been pretty recession-proof. Well, guess what? They don't want them to be recession-proof. They want them gone. Gone. Service jobs gone. They want you eliminated. They don't want you to make money. They want to take their thumb and just crush you right into submission. That's what they want to do. And then when you can't pay for your mortgage, what's next after that? You see where we're going? You see where we're going here? Like, if they'll go in and they'll repossess your house. You won't have any money. You won't be able to afford food. You'll run your credit cards up, because most people have credit cards, and credit cards are their lifeline in their bank. And guess what happens? You won't be able to make the payments on your credit card. Debt, 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 more debt. People will be drowning in debt. And then here come the Schwabians. Oh, we'll take care of that for you. We'll take care of that for you. All you have to do is just sign everything away. Make sure you take the vaccines when we tell you to. Be a good citizen. Don't go to certain websites, and you'll be fine. You'll get your UBI. And by the way, you'll get food, but it's the food that we'll have for you. It won't be food that you want. It won't be food that you like. It'll be food that we will give you. It'll be food that'll be low in protein. A lot of it will be all of it will be genetically modified, and you'll be on our diet. But you'll have an existence. You'll have a subsistence existence. But if you're a rat bastard Judas and play really good at the social credit score game, well, you'll be rewarded. Like the Joe Pantaleone character from The Matrix, where he says, I just want to go back into the Matrix and eat a steak, right? He's the Judas. He's a Judas character of the Matrix. So it's the Judas economy. It's the 40 pieces of silver economy. And people think that they're going to be able to rationalize. The entities that are enacting this stuff are not rational. They are not rational. You cannot come at them with reason and facts and things like the Constitution. That's not going to work. It is not going to work. You might get lucky with the judge every now and then, like that guy in Buffalo did. He had a good judge. That guy kept his gym open. but that's a very local perspective. He lucked out. So people need to understand this, and the front lines of this really are going to be the most, I think, immediate forms of passive resistance, which is cutting off the income source to the state. You got to do it somehow. You have to do it somehow. Now, they could make up the shortfall by having their, corporations, whatever, donate more money, right? So if Walmart or Costco or Target or Amazon want to come up for the shortfall, let's say people stop paying their property tax, they'll do that. They'll do that. I guarantee they'll do that. They'll figure out a way to do it, but they'll do it. They'll make sure that the state stays in business because it's in their best interest to make sure that all the middlemen get run out of town. Honestly, the only way I think we can stop this thing is somehow take away the ability to incorporate. That's it. You take away the ability to incorporate, then none of these entities exist. On a physical level, right? On a 3D level, they don't exist. Now, theoretically, you can take yourself out of the corporation. That's a lot of work, by the way. And it's a tangled. That is a tangled path filled with lots of brambles and lots of hucksters, con artists, and it's a dangerous path. It can happen. Some people have done it. And they've unlinked themselves, and they're no longer chattel, and they're no longer a corporate chit. Okay, let's get into this Pence thing because it's remotely interesting. When I say remotely, a lot of stuff here, and I don't even have the Pence thing. Let me track it down. It won't take that long. You notice you don't see Tom Fitton around very much. Like he was on the scene there for a while. But he's not there anymore. And by the way, God, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but sometimes you got to be. So, Sidney Powell, Sidney Powell, right? Sidney Powell, the lawyer. I always get her confused with the other Powell, who is the chairman of the Fed. Interesting, they both have the same last name. Sidney Powell, I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. But one of her star, insider witnesses, one of the people that Sidney Powell has been hanging her Kraken hat on, is Tor Mars Lindemann. That came out a couple days ago. When I read that, I was like, oh, God, you got to be kidding me. Sidney Powell has been banking on information coming from Tor Mars Lindemann. Oh. Not good. Not good. That almost automatically disqualified her. And by the way, Mike Flynn is selling Q merchandise now. There's your Truth Warrior update. I'm sorry, it may sound a little depressing. It is what it is. It is what it is. You have as much legitimacy as Sidney Powell. I guarantee you that, even though she's a lawyer. So okay, this is the Pence stuff, and this is kind of interesting. This is why I say there is a slim scintilla. A slim scintilla. Farewell visit of U.S. Vice President Pence to Israel canceled, reports say. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence's farewell visit to Israel. What does that mean, farewell visit? Farewell. Farewell, good friend. Farewell. Mike Pence and Israel joined at the hip. They're like the Siamese twins. That was scheduled to occur in early January before the official inauguration. President-elect Joe Biden has been canceled. Supposed to be the next day. Israel's Ynet News outlet reported on Wednesday. In mid-December, media reported that Pence was expected to leave his country on January 6th for a week-long international trip with Israel along with Bahrain. It was originally Croatia, but now it's Bahrain and Poland on the agenda. Pence's most recent visit to Israel took place in January 2020 at the World Holocaust Forum at Yad Vashem Memorial. According to media reports, Pence's visiting plans were preliminary. It could be updated with more countries. The order of visits has not been specified. Biden was confirmed the winner, blah, 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 blah. So he ain't going. He ain't going. You know, he has a head that looks like an NPC head. You know, the NPC character, well, the non-participating character, he's got like an NPC head. I think Mike Pence is really, he's like the avatar of the NPCs. I mean, he's not going. What does that mean? Well, maybe he really is going, but they had to say he's not going, possibly. We don't know. But maybe he's not going, and maybe, well, the plans have changed. It's an interesting development. I will say this. Louis Gohmert, who is a representative from East Texas, big-time Christian, tried to get Pence to sign off on a document that said that they were going to bring in the alternate electors from the swing states. Pence refused to do that. Wasn't going to do it. So I think it was pretty clear where Pence was going, both theoretically, factually, metaphorically, and now we know he's not going to be going to Israel for whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe it's just another thing, right? But according to that, he ain't going, which means that there is a slim scintilla of a chance. Let's talk a little bit about January. By the way, on Sunday night, I am going to be looking at Mike Pence's chart with X-ray vision. I'm going to be looking at his chart as it relates to the January 6th day and time. So we're going to really zero in on Pence on Sunday night. I also have on Sunday night a really interesting demonstration of why I think Western astrology is legit. So you want to be there for that, because it's a very interesting demonstration, and it has to do with synastry, and it has to do with two historical figures that, when you put their charts together, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you will see how Western astrology works. So you want to be there for that. And there's also possibly a new candidate for the Antichrist position. And we're going to look at his chart too. So a lot of interesting stuff on Sunday night. Be here for that. Well, actually not here, on the other channel. So the Pence thing it's interesting, right? It's interesting. Like, what's going on there? Is it just a mere formality? Is it a smokescreen? And Pence is such a toady. He is such a toady. He came here to Texas. And as soon as, look at this, look what you can see. I'm all over this shit. I'm all over this shit. This is so funny. He came to Texas and he visited Robert Jeffers, who is one of these mega church pastors, and then he paid a visit to Greg Abbott. And as soon as he left town, Greg Abbott changed. Oh yeah, he changed. Things got a little more intense here. He started to look a little bit more like Gavin Newsom in terms of his application of orders. He basically suspended the ability for the state legislature to meet with them. And then he signed a really kind of almost a no bid, even though there were bids. He signed a no bid contact tracing deal with a company that had absolutely almost zero qualifications. Their biggest qualification is set up a call center in India. That's it. And to this day, I don't even know where the money went, but the contact tracing, I don't know what the fuck is going on with it. It's not happening, at least not now. Anyway, that didn't happen here in Texas until Mike Pence came here. And he basically gave Greg Abbott his marching orders. I think, so I don't think Trump has a big of a relationship with Israel as Mike Pence does. Trump has a big relationship with Chabad through his potentially Antichrist son-in-law, and his daughter. That's where his connection with Chabad comes through. But even though Chabad has ties with Israel, it is not the same thing. It is not the same thing. Pence, I don't believe, has strong ties with Chabad, but does have strong ties with Israel. So they're two different things. And of course, Trump moved the embassy. He did that for Sheldon Adelson. And he did have a coin with his face on it. It's, what is it, the 2-cent shekel or something like that? Him and Cyrus the Great. So Trump does have a relationship with Israel, but I don't think it's the same as Pence. He's different. So Pence is tied into it from that Christian, Zionist, Catholic, charismatic, whatever that thing is. Like he's in. He's totally in. And so is Greg Abbott. But I think it's different than Trump. I'm just saying. Just saying. Not that Trump doesn't have those connections, but I think they go through different channels. So check this out. I found this on the internets just now. Making a Mike Pence NPC. Before I delve, this is D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Before I delve into this, I want to make clear I do not use Reddit much for its many rules, but I need Reddit's professional opinion on this. I've read the rules, and I believe I'm within the guidelines. If I'm not, please do not hesitate to correct me. He's good one. Note, as you may see by the title, this may be a touchy subject for some. But that is not my intent. None of our players are anti-LGBT, to my knowledge. I need help making a Mike Pence NPC. So I want to begin. This was not intentional. This was created by the situation in our D&D campaign. Let me give some backstory. I've been playing D&D like games for as long as I can remember. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, PC Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 1 and 2, Neverwinter, and all the such. That is like D&D language, and all the such. I may seem like a newbie DM who just picked up some D&D book and started making a loose campaign, not knowing the rules well, and that could be true somewhat. I have a campaign with old school D&D players who I'm actually playing with of today. Like, this person's really going all out to establish both their credibility and the fact that they don't know everything. So please be patient with me. This is very funny, actually. Backstory of current newbie campaign. Some of my friends asked out of the blue if I wanted to play D&D. They know that I play D&D, and I was excited to play. Turns out none of them ever played D&D before, except for the one guy for only 3 months, second. So I was the only one who could properly dungeon master. Oh my God. Background on mission. The mayor of a town named Camp. Town of friendliness and tolerance. I'd asked the party to find the creature that's been stealing the farmer's sheep. What the fuck is this? This is a whole world that is so weird and alternate time. How Mike Pence came about. Let's get to this. So to go to the farmer and ask him if he has seen the creature that's been stealing the sheep. And all he has seen is a fuzzy four-legged creature who's apparently scared of light. Not listing creature because my players will be reading this post maybe. Oh, don't want to do that. So after all was done, they're about to go. One of the players, note this campaign does not have erotic role-playing, and it isn't. It is discouraged. This is a very strange person. Keeps hugging random people. A wizard, the mayor, the party's pig. And so after the fourth time of commenting, what? What are you, fucking gay? Oh, like, wow, that must have really triggered this person. As the NPC jokingly, we have nothing against LGBT community. Got to establish that. The NPC farmer goes off on a tantrum of how queers are ruining the city, like a redneck farmer, and says how Joaquin, goddess of commerce, is against homosexuality and queers. This is so bizarre. All right, so we're all giggling and laughing. One of the players asked, was his name Mike Pence? And I willingly went along with it, making this Mike Pence thing canon to the campaign. Then he goes up to one of the players and says he keeps gays in his basement and shocks them. One of them comments, how? Then he goes inside and gets a helmet and says this helmet made in the honor of Joaquin was made to shock sinners. Insert zapping effects here. So the players persuade Mike Pence that the creature, yes, this is a world, like people actually do this shit. My God. Mike Pence, on hearing this, immediately responds that he will slay it himself. And he has heard this news. So basically, he has temporarily joined the campaign. Now I need help making Mike Pence NPC. And people actually respond to this. Make him neutral evil and have him use his deity as justification. This is a world I know nothing about. Nothing about. But somebody apparently wanted to make Mike Pence an NPC for their Dungeons and Dragons. See, I'm onto something here. Oh my God, it gets better. Look at this. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. Never. Never played Dungeons and Dragons. Look at this. Here we go. Here's an NPC. Like Mike Pence has an NPC head. He's got that NPC noggin. Look at the head. I'll show you. Look at the head. That is an NPC head right there. See it? He's got the NPC jaw and everything. Apparently, they took it one step further. Apparently, he's got a power. This is his power. Blast Mike. Apparently, this is a thing now. He is the gay blaster. He's the NPC gay blaster. Look at that. It's back on Reddit. Amazing. Amazing. So I guess they went with this thing. Mike Pence now has a role in the D&D world as an NPC. What a strange universe. Probably more to the truth than the one we're actually living in. Okay, I got to go into I'm back again. Okay. So a little bit of humor there. A little bit of humor with Vice President NPC. But there, of course, are other things happening in the world that do require a more serious tone, like this. Apparently, COVID-19 bill started 180-day countdown for UFO disclosures. Nick Pope has been authorized as being the person it looks like to handle disclosure. He's been on Tucker Carlson quite a bit. And Tucker Carlson has availed himself of Nick Pope's vast and wide intelligence around the subject. President Trump's signature Sunday on the $2.3 trillion COVID-19 relief and government funding bill started a 180-day countdown for the Pentagon and spy agencies to say what they know about UFOs. The provision received very little attention, in part because it wasn't included in the text of the 5,593-page legislation, but as a committee comment attached to the Annual Intelligence Authorization Act, which was rolled into the massive bill. The Senate Intelligence Committee, chaired by Senator Marco Rubio, who I believe is an alien, said in the comment that it directs the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and the heads of such other agencies, to submit a report within 180 days of the enactment of the act. So they have to disclose what they theoretically know. Isn't that interesting? The report must address observed airborne objects that have not been identified and should include a detailed analysis. Yada, yada. They are going to do something. They have been working on this for a while. Here's Chris Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. I'm sure he comes out of the Carnegie Mellon family somewhere along the way. I'm hopeful the new administration will rigorously execute its oversight prerogatives because the concerns of the public and numerous U.S. military personnel have been ignored by complacent national security bureaucracy for too long. Not true. Nick Pope, who ran the UFO office in the UK's Ministry of Defense, told the Post, "I welcome this move, which shows how seriously the phenomenon is being taken in the intelligence community." Like, look, they know plenty. They know a lot. They are up to their third fucking eye in UFO intel. Whether it is coming out of the German research and the Bellcraft and all that stuff, or come in Antarctica, or the back engineered stuff that we've done, or the the cryptoterrestrial stuff from underneath the land, right? Beneath the land, structures of the land, cryptoterrestrials or USOs, whatever's going on in the ocean. Hello, James Cameron and the Abyss. Like, they know all this shit. And by the way, I do believe that extraterrestrial, interdimensional entities, forces, lives, biological entities, I believe they do exist. But I'm not sure they fit into the rubric or the paradigm that we would like to fit them into. But that's in there. Isn't that strange? No, it's not strange, because they've been talking about this. Tucker Carlson has been given the role of being the release valve, and Nick Pope has been on Tucker Carlson at least 3 or 4 times, if not more, in the past 6 months. Those videos are available. You can watch them on YouTube. YouTube won't censor those videos. So more high strange for our time. What else is high strange is that there was a 41-year-old congressman who apparently, theoretically, died of COVID-19, which probably is not the case. But let's go there anyway. This is like breaking news, right here. This is His name is Luke Letlow, 41, who won a seat on November 3rd, and he was confirmed in December. He was taken to St. Francis Medical Center. Apparently, he's from Shreveport. Due to complications from the novel coronavirus, as his condition worsened, he transferred to the Oxner LSU Health Shreveport Academic Medical Center on December 23rd. The congressman-elect was in stable condition in the intensive care unit. He was receiving remdesivir. I don't think remdesivir is good. I don't think it's good. So Trump got remdesivir. We think. Regeneron, whatever, if he even had it. The family appreciates the numerous prayers. He's got a wife, 2 young kids, 3 and 11. That's going to be rough for these kids, by the way. It's going to be really rough. Letlow was set to succeed his boss, retiring Representative Ralph Abram, a Republican from Louisiana, for whom he served as chief of staff since December 2014. Abram publicly endorsed Letlow after he announced he was running. Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards, a Democrat, not that there's any difference, offered his condolences to Letlow's family. Democrats never get COVID-19, apparently. So that's new. Now, there's a guy who has a channel, and he believes that he was offed. And the channel is Agenda Free TV. He's got 152,000 subscribers. It's pretty damn good. But he's covering this. I'll put a link. It's actually a pretty long video, and he cruises through a lot of Facebook material. So I'll put a link here. Come on. Come on. There it is. There you go. It's there. Yeah, look, I think there is a thing. I think there's a thing. I think there's an alien thing. I think there's an interdimensional thing. I think there is a crypto-terrestrial thing. And yes, Uncle Glenn, they will push it any way they want. Anyway, but I think there's a thing. Yes, I do. I do. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think there's a thing. Back in the 80s, I was actually friends with this woman who was, and I told the story before, this woman who was a waitress at this restaurant I worked at. Her father was military, and her sister was a therapist. And some of her clients were abductees. So I got in touch with the sister, and the sister turned me on to 2 of her clients. And I want to do a piece on this. This is back in, I think, 80, it was 87 when I interviewed these 2 people. And one of them was this guy, and I told you about this guy. And that interview got put on, if I'm not mistaken, it might even be on one of my YouTube pages, because I had it on, I believe, Blog Talk Radio. So I think I actually might have it somewhere on the 11th House channel. But this guy was very interesting. He looked like a hybrid. He looked like one of the Skrulls from the Marvel comic book. And he had very unusual traits. He was highly intelligent. And he built his own mini harpsichord. Like, how many fucking people build their own mini harpsichord? Not many. And he was very lucid, and he told me all about these encounters he used to have, and missing time, and all this other stuff. And, it could be government, whatever. I mean, possible. But this guy was not normal by any stretch. Not normal. And then the woman who I interviewed was very different. And she was kind of new agey, Ashtar Command. But she was not normal either. And her structure Like when you look at some of the theoretical people who have been altered, they don't really look human. They have faces and features that are strange. They're not symmetrical. This gal had webbed hands. She had webbed hands. Well, and I know there's probably a condition for that, right? There's a condition for everything, but it was more than that. Her face shared the same kind of kind of symmetrical sort of quality that the guy did, but it was different. So I think there's a there for sure. But, you know, I guess we'll find out what their version of there is. Okay, what else do we have? Let's get into the mud flood stuff. This is breaking. And remember when we talked about the Great Conjunction, remember I said that one of the things that Aquarius does is it empties the contents, right? This is the water bearer. You can't help me with anything. Fucking Siri, man, always wants to help me with something. So we saw that pretty early on. I think it was the next day where there was a massive flood in Italy. And then, of course, with Uranus in Taurus and the squares happening, we started to see major activity with volcanoes, almost like the day after. Well, check this out. Gidrum, I think it's pronounced Hirdrum. Hirdrum, a quick clay landslide. Isn't this where this is where Howdy is? Howdy's in Norway. I should email him about this. He'd be a good point of contact with this. Maybe I could get him on the show briefly on Friday. Talk about this. Because this is like right in his backyard, and this is mud floody. Overnight, a large, quick clay landslide has struck the village of Ask in the municipality of Gjerdrum. Gjerdrum. Sorry, I'm butchering Norwegian. News reports from this landslide are a little confused as I write this. Unsurprisingly, but it is clear that the slide has swept away a number of houses. Reports suggest up to 9 might have been injured. Update, latest reports are that 21 people have not been traced. Some other reports have this number at 26. It is not clear whether they were at the site at the time of the landslide. Of course, many people may have been away during the holiday season. Over 500 people have been evacuated. This is really bizarre. This is really bizarre because what do you see here? You see it's snowing. I mean, it is, eternal night there now. And all of a sudden, you've got this freaking clay landslide. How does this happen? I'm sure there's some kind of geological, scientific reason why. This is bizarre. This is like mud flood territory right here. Supposedly, this is what it's supposed to look like. And now it's like this. That is so weird. Reports indicate that the alert sounded at about 4 a.m. local time. The landslide remains unstable, and some retrogression of the head scarp is still occurring. It's not clear how far downslope the landslide extends, but the images suggest that this is a very substantial failure. The area that has failed is described as being low hazard, but a loosening area. I'm not sure what that means. However, it is immediately adjacent to an area described as a medium hazard. And it is not a sinkhole. This thing is very bizarre. So here we go. This is the landslide blog. I guess you've got blogs about everything. Dave Petley. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation at the University of Sheffield in the United Kingdom. His blog provides a commentary on landslide events. This is kind of interesting. This is a blog you may want to follow. especially as it relates to the mudflood stuff. This is interesting. Let's check out his blog. Home. Is there any more? Okay, Taku River. Another very large landslide. This is in British Columbia. This is interesting. The Carmen Copper Mine landslide in the Philippines. The slope evolution before failure. The deadly landslide at the Carmen Copper Mine in the Philippines. This is an interesting blog. 18 December, Arequipa, Peru. Landslides. Look at this. Wow, this is a good stumble upon right here. Look at this. This is all mud floody. Large landslide at Gamsberg Mine. So a lot of this looks like it's mine related, but there's some that's not. Eureka Valley landslide. Death Valley. Man, who knew that all these landslides are going on? Mindu in Tibet, detecting precursors of imminent landslide. Landslide potential this winter related to wildfires. Wow, interesting stuff. The landslide blog. There you go. Let's see. Let me say. I've been watching Lillehammer on Netflix. Funny, it takes place in Norway. Tanya Lynn says January 2019, a vision of black sludge covering the world, black goo. Flat Earth British Litsky recently went too far, in my opinion. Martin Litsky, Martin, he has a very strange way of delivering things. Let's see. Has the clay been tested for chemical rating? I don't know. It's interesting. But that's a very unusual, very, very, very unusual landslide. It's just like out of nowhere. Like it's like wintry conditions, super Arctic, polar, and now there's a fucking clay landslide. Very strange shit. Very, very strange shit. Okay. I think I'm out of here for the day. Got a lot going on, a lot of work, a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. But I'll be back tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow's Thursday. So I'll be back tomorrow. I will be doing a show on Friday. Maybe we can get just for at least half an hour or so. Maybe we talk to Howdy and get some information on that landslide in Norway. That'd be good. I think that'd be a good thing. I'll work on that. Let's see. I'll be hanging out with Emily on New Year's Eve. I guess she's got her Patreon thing going with Masaki. And then after Howdy, I think I'll do a retrospective. I'll do a retrospective on Friday for 2020. Look at things. Sunday night, I will do my astrological predictions for 2021. In addition to looking at Mike Pence's chart, in addition to demonstrating the efficacy of Western astrology through a revelatory synastry comparison contrast. And then maybe take a look at the chart of potential Antichrist. I wonder if you could bet on the Antichrist. Is there like a bookie that does bets on the Antichrist? What are the odds? What are the odds on who the Antichrist is? Let's look that up. Oh yeah, apparently you can. This guy made a bet on how I won $1,000 betting on the Antichrist. Oh, I guess he bet it with fundamentalist Christians. You can bet on it. Legal bites. I'm not sure. Can I bet on the Antichrist? Can I bet on the Antichrist online for that? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think they've opened the lines for that yet. Yeah, I don't think so. But it'd be cool if you could. It'd be cool if you could. You know, I think you could get into some really interesting odds, like Nikki Haley at 20-1 or two. You know, I mean that Nikki Haley would be an interesting long shot bet for the Antichrist. Like if you wanted to, you know, go big on a long shot bet, I think Nikki Haley would be interesting. A lot of people think Antichrist be a guy and everything, but that'd be an interesting bet. Of course, you'd be probably less than even money with Obama. You'd have to like spend 200 to make 220 or something like that. You know, you make $20 off it at the most. Then you have other people. I think Jared Kushner's probably about maybe 2-1 on betting on the Antichrist line. He's in there. But yeah, there could be some other people that would be really good long shot plays. I definitely put money on Nikki Haley as a long shot play. All right. So be here on Sunday night. Actually, the other channel Sunday night. Friday, try to get Howdy on, see what's going on in Norway, and we'll do a year review. New Year's Eve tomorrow night. New Year's Eve, I'll be hanging out with the Techno Brat over on her channel, and I've heard the internet is the AC. Could be. You know, when I had one of my revelations. One of my revelations when I was 26. 26. 25. 25. 25. And I was in Wisconsin, and I was actually getting a massage on a massage table outdoors at this alternate community. It was great. And I had this revelation that the Antichrist, and I actually had a dream about it too, by the way, that came later. That the Antichrist is a consciousness, is not located with one person, that it is a consciousness. And it is a pervasive consciousness. It is the spirit of a thing and not one person. And that I'm pretty sure of. But there can be like a point person for that. For a while, at least. Okay. Like to see you guys tomorrow here. Maybe Emily can put up she's still here. She put up her link to her page, her Patreon page. So you guys can hang out there and ring in the new year with her conspiracy cocktail. I think that's what it is. Anyway, I'll certainly be back tomorrow. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to say what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Take good care for now. And keep your head on the swivel. We will prevail. I guarantee you that. It may not be tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year, but our time will come, and it will come. It will be glorious. And we'll be able to really take this thing to another level. Okay? But you have to be brave, be courageous. It will not be given to you on a platter. You have to work for it. Take care.